Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations tonight. But first, let's shift our attention to the ongoing rift between Dangote Group and oil sector regulators. Precisely on Sunday, Aliko Dangote made an offer to sell the Dangote Refinery to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited. He said that if the NNPCL takes over the refinery, the allegations of monopoly would no longer be valid. Also, in the wake of allegations and counter-allegations by both parties, recently Aliko Dangote alleged that some personnel of NNPCL, oil traders and terminals have opened a blending plant in Malta. But the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited Group Chief Executive Officer, Lekari, reacting to that, says he does not own or operate any business directly or by proxy anywhere in the world, except a local mini-agric venture. Tonight, let's get the perspectives of Mohammed Bawa, Senior Lecturer, Public Affairs Analyst. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
Right. So, first, how embarrassing is it that Nigeria's biggest local investor says he has now become a laughingstock amongst his friends who had advised him against investing in Nigeria? How dangerous is it or counterproductive is it for federal government to say, please, foreigners, come and invest in my country, but you frustrate your local investors? Also, how embarrassing is it that oil sector regulators are telling the whole world that one individual is capable of monopolizing trade in our country? Please help us understand this.
Well, good evening, my viewers. You see, this is a very serious issue that every Nigerian need to be concerned, and for more than 10 days now, it has been trending all over the media on this brawl between NNPCL as well as Dangote Refinery, which we all knew that there's no two way about it, that Dangote is a beacon of entrepreneurship in Nigeria, as well as it is an economic transformer of Nigeria and West Africa in general. However, as it is, at the eve of time, you understand, you find out that there's a serious allegation of monopoly, as well as the quality of his product, then the issue of licensing and the rest of them, to the extent that Dangote willingly is willing to sell out the NNPCL to the refinery to NNPCL, which is very dirty. It's a very dirty and is a very unfounded on the issue globally on Nigeria's investors. If you are looking for investors to come and invest in your own country, develop your economy, and now you are driving away your indigenous investors. This is the greatest investment in the history of Nigeria, for one to establish an investment of what, $20 billion in your country, and you are trying to kind of frustrate all this effort. However, there are a lot of things in relation to this. When you look at the politics of importation of oil, you find out that there's no way that will take us survive this. It has been a very big business racket that has been established for so many decades. Many people are making money on daily basis on that, on daily basis. So therefore, they cannot fold their arms and just watch them to stop them in a day. So it is not going to be healthy for Nigerian economy, just like what you have said.
So, there are those who have said, because this is a capitalist society and what we are seeing is survival of the fittest, and both parties are trying to protect their own interest. But for the federal government, this is energy security, and the federal government is only trying to protect its investor by trying not to put all its energy security in the hands of one individual. But isn't it NNPC's job as the regulator to check any monopolistic control? And also, I'm wondering, why do we have the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Mr. Bawa?
Yes. It is one of the major responsibilities of every responsible government to protect its investors, as well as it is also a dangerous thing to leave all the security of the economy, of your energy resources into the hands of an individual. Of course, I agree with the government on trying to control monopoly. But however, the reality is we have some auxiliary refineries, so-called auxiliary refineries being operated in Nigeria. There are government-owned or NNPCL-owned refineries that we have been hearing will be in operation today, will be in operation next month. So I don't think there is absolute monopoly into this. However, despite the fact that it is a competitive economy, yet it is equally important to protect an investor that is transforming, that has the ambition and the willing to transform the lives of the people. You see, the yearning of Nigerians is, let us have this issue of fuel. Now, if you look at the advantages that this refinery stand, it will help the government in reducing the exchange gain. In fact, when we reduce, or there is a cut in this importation of refined oil, definitely there is going to be an increase in foreign exchange to Nigeria, because the money we have been spending to import this oil, this refined oil, and if we can get it from Dangote Refinery. So therefore, if that is the case, government need to protect its interest. Quite okay, it needs to protect its economic interest in the sense that there is going to be an gain in foreign exchange. And of course, we know Nigeria is facing the problem of underemployment, not even unemployment, it's underemployment. Of course, with investment like the Dangote Refinery, there are going to be jobs creation as well as there's going to be unemployment. Then also it is going to create wealth. Then, of course, the issue of, we all believe that if this Dangote Refinery is in full operation, there's going to be the sufficiency of this product. So the supply, the issue of shortage, the issue of scarcity will be a history. So therefore, looking at the advantages of this particular investment, there is need, despite the fact that it is a competitive economy, there is need for government to come in and protect and indigenous as well as investors who have invested their life savings to make Nigeria great. So therefore, I don't blame the government in trying to remove the issue of monopoly in the hands of an individual, and at the same time, government has a duty bound on it to ensure that it protects the interests of those investors so that it can attract other foreign investors into the country for our economic development.
Right. So, I mean, just before we move on, it's also very important to state that Minister for State, Petroleum Resources, Oil, Hanneke Lokpobiri, has called all parties involved to address these ongoing issues. And many are very optimistic about this. But Nigerians, including members of the House of Reps, are still calling for the suspension of the NMDPRA boss till this investigation is over. Do you think that for some Nigerians to see some level of seriousness on the part of government, Farouk Ahmed should be excused?
Well, over the years, so many efforts were done by government, just like you have said, the House of Reps members call on suspension of the of Engineer Farouk Ahmed, as well as Nasima came on board also to protect, to canvass for protection to Dangote. So also, the minister convened an emergency meeting 2 days ago with all the stakeholders that are involved in this issue. Yet, I don't see it as government is doing what it deserves to do. Government need to step in. Step in not in policy, but in reality. Government need to come in and ensure that, yes, things started going well. Because if it is true that we're all aware that Nigerian, as a result of this oil removal of oil subsidy, Nigerians are subjected to unnecessary suffering. And then, of course, we all believe that with the coming of this Dangote refinery, things are going to normalize, and then definitely life is going to be a little bit bearable. So therefore, government need to hasten its effort. It has to go beyond this to ensure that, yes, the interest of this entrepreneur, the interest of this investment that is worth 20 billion, one of the best in the world, need to be protected. So many things have to be done.
Mr. Bawa, you know, when he made this allegation that the diesel produced from the refinery is below standard in terms of sulfur content, and many believed this information should not have gotten to the media if indeed we have our own laboratory to test this product. And the House of Reps says it is investigating this. So what exactly should the House of Reps be investigating this time? And how important is it that we see the result of this probe?
Well, like most of all those that are commenting or social public analysts on this issue pointed the boss of the engineer Farouk on bringing this issue onto the media, because it is the marketing, not only Dangote. Because if you look at the market of this refinery, it extends not only to West Africa, not only to Africa, but even like United States of America are now buying what do you call it, aeroplane jets or whatever, fuel from Dangote. So it is the marketing, and in fact, it is very dangerous for our economy, because the fact is that Nigeria is being characterized with a lot of corrupt activities and corrupt money. So people will be scared, will no longer have confidence, will not have any truth. So left to me, it is the greatest mistake on bringing this thing on the media. However, I expect the National Assembly should come up with what? With something, with a result that will now kind of contradict what, or kind of negate what Engineer Farouk have said, so that the image of the country can be redeemed. Because it is of course a very, very, very dirty economy for one to be talking about the quality of what is being produced, and this product is for the world consumption, is at the global market, not only at the local content. If it is in the local content, it's something that we can bear on, so something that we can be able to hold. But unfortunately, this has gone viral all over the globe, and then this product is being sold all over the world. So therefore, there is need for the National Assembly to come up with something that will now kind of redeem the lost glory or the lost image of the refinery, because the image of that refinery is the image of Nigerian nation and is the image of Nigerian economy.
You know, I asked the question because remember in 2022 we had this issue of adulterated PMS brought in from Belgium, undetected as well as the oil companies that brought in, which cost a lot of Nigerians to change their cars. Till today, we never saw the result of that probe, and it sounds like government is somehow helpless in this situation.
Yeah, it is. You see, there is something that we don't intend to say over the media, but the fact is that the oil moguls in the country, those who benefit the monopolistic importation of refined oil, has become so strong, bigger than the government, so strong, bigger than the government, to the extent that you find out that to the extent that they manipulate every effort by government in ensuring, because that result will never be out because of the vested interest in that. So the same thing is happening today. Dangote is stepping on stones of so many government, so many officers of government who are directly or indirectly involved with this issue of importation of oil, importation of refined oil, importation of diesel, and importation of everything. They make money out of it. So therefore, they are so strong to the extent that government cannot control them, stronger than the government. So we don't expect to see any result, just like what happened during that time when adulterated oil is being imported from Belgium. It is still the same thing that we're going to see today. There are claims by Dangote that the product he is producing, the diesel product he is producing, is having higher sulfur content than that is being imported from outside the country. So you find out that this accusation, this claim, whatever is going to be the result, is going to be the result in the interest and the benefit of those people who have made what the government is today.
So when you say, I mean, talking about alleged vested interest, recently we heard Dangote alleging that some of the big guns in the industry have a refinery in Malta. I mean, Medicare has denied that. And he has asked Dangote to name NNPC officials who own blending plants in Malta. But for you, what danger do these accusations and counter-accusations portend for the refinery and the oil and gas industry in the country?
Well, it is clearly translated. It is clearly showing how corrupt, how the system is, how corrupt the system is. In fact, it is not only the oil and gas sector that is experiencing this very problem. You see, we came a long way being the as far as Nigeria is concerned, we came a long way as a corrupt nation and people with corrupt mind. So therefore, it is not a new thing. Now, these allegations, counter allegations, are all means or ways by which we try to show to the world that yes, Nigeria is ranked highest in the form of corruption. Now, how do you expect an official of the NNPCL having a private refining company elsewhere in the world, not in Nigeria? And then you people are coming out to claim monopolistic nature from an indigenous technocrat who decided, an indigenous business mogul who invested his life saving and produced what Nigeria could not be able to produce for more than 40 years. So I felt it's just a clear indication, clear demonstration, and then clear explanation of what kind of people we are as a country.
All right, let's take a break, Mr. Bawa, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. Stay with us, everyone.
I will see you.
It's okay. Come on.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard. Bawa,
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. And I've been speaking with Mohammed Bawa, Senior Lecturer and Public Affairs Analyst. And tonight we're discussing the ongoing rift between Dangote and the oil sector regulators. Mr. Bawa, thanks so much for staying with us on the program. So with all of this back and forth, do you agree with Obi Ezekwesili, who has called on President Bola Tinubu to immediately use the instrumentality of NATO to launch an independent audit of the Dangote Refinery NNPC transaction to offer the public the true state of play?
Well, yeah, I stand by this opinion, but however, it is obvious that Dangote had to cry, you see, because it is assumed that Dangote is out of the whole picture of the issue of oil and gas in Nigeria. If you could recall, it is a known fact that the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, even before the term of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had been taking loans grant from international organizations, and these loans and grants are being paid with crude oil. So if you look at the average production of Nigerian oil and gas company is about what is left after servicing these loans and grants cannot even be towards half of, is about 200,000 barrels per day that we can be able to produce. But the issue is Dangote need about 650 million barrels, 650,000 barrels per day to refine in that is his refining capacity. Now, what I'm trying to say here is there's need for an independent auditor to come in to find out what is the problem, where does it lie, so that we can be able to solve this problem once and for all. But however, government, despite all this, it has nothing to offer. It cannot offer anything because government cannot provide Dangote with the Dangote Refinery with the required capacity of crude oil to refine. Similarly, Dangote could not be able to obtain crude oil elsewhere because, like you had right, that he has invested all his life saving in this particular industry. So if you have been going over the media, daily media, you find out that he imported oil from the United States of America as a result of demurrage, as a result of he could not be able to settle all this, so that he took it to his refinery. So therefore, he is facing financial challenges. Irrespective of whatever will be the outcome of the auditing, definitely still things are not going to work. Government must come out with it through which it has to.
But also, what is your reaction to the equity shares allocation to NNPCL or Nigeria in the Dangote refinery? I mean, what we knew was that it was 20%, and now we hear it's been reduced to 7.2% by the NNPC. Is this really an issue?
It's an issue. It's just like what I've just finished explaining. The equity of Nigeria, initially when the refinery is being commissioned, it was 20%. We all know that. It has been 20%, and then that 20% of equity is not going to be given in monetary form, but it's going to be in crude oil form. Some part of government gave some part of support of about 1.3 billion. Then the remaining part of the 20% will be supplied in crude oil. Unfortunately, like I've told you, the politics of this loan from international community and international organizations, as well as international financial institutions like World Bank, IMF, and the rest of them, you find out that, yes, definitely government must keep to its words. We must service these loans with crude oil, and the crude oil remaining could not meet up the actual equity of 20% in the level. Therefore, NNPCL had to reduce it to 7.something%. That is the issue there.
So, Mr. Shoba, if you say this is an issue, could this have happened without the knowledge of the Federal Executive Council? Because at the initial agreement, FEC announced it. Do you think NNPCL would have gone ahead with this reduction without FEC in the know? And now the question is, why are Nigerians not aware of this? Also, what is Nigeria's true stake in Dangote Refinery? Because some experts have said if our refineries were working, it wouldn't even matter if we had any stake or not.
Yeah, it is true. You see, if you go back to actual position of NNPCL in Dangote Refinery, you find out that NNPCL is a private company. No, it's no longer owned and controlled by government completely. We all know that. It's no longer now a limited company. And then the issue of reduction without knowledge of the Federal Executive Council, it is obvious there are things, the truth that we wouldn't want to know, and then people must know it. You see, the whole issue began when after 2023 general election, when the body language of Dangote clearly shows that he is a neutral. I couldn't say he supported another candidate, but he doesn't do what he is expected to do as one of the richest person in Africa. He should have done what he should have done. Unfortunately, he hasn't done that. So his body language gives a sign to those that won the election, and therefore they felt he is either against them or whatever. So it can be kept away from people simply because these are sensitive issues that people's consumption doesn't matter a lot. It doesn't matter a lot. You can't understand the terminologies, the language being used, the economic terms there. So therefore, one doesn't even know what is an equity. So therefore, I believe it is with the knowledge of the government that NNPCL reduced that equity from 20 to 7.3 or 7.1%.
So, you know, Mr. Bawa, earlier you said NNPC is shrouded in secrecy, but I'm worried about why this must continue.
Well, you see, like I've told you, it is the nature of our country. Things have to continue the way they are. But we shouldn't be hopeless. We should be hopeful. But the fact is that Nigeria have come a long way, and we have seen the transformations that we keep on listening to fact and a bunch of lies from our leaders. In fact, there was no commitment. There was no for the benefit of the people. Now, when it turns from that direction, that one is governing for the interest and benefit of his own personal self and for his own personal interest, definitely you should expect this thing to continue. Because I've told you, just like what former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor during Buhari's regime, Yemi Osibanjo said corruption had gathered a lot of strength in Nigeria. And when you start to fight corruption, it will fight you back. And that is just the situation. And then when you asked me about people, in fact, I'm telling you, Dangote, if he's looking for sympathy of people, or if Nigerian people are now, you know, in lieu with what the pace of Dangote. I read from one of these dailies that a friend to Dangote was commenting that he had, for long he knew Dangote, he has never seen Dangote in trouble. He has become old. All his years were gray simply because he's being frustrated for his own life-saving investment that he believed can transform and change the fortune of his country. So, in all of it, I'm assuming it is in the Western world, the fact that Dangote might have taken his life long ago because of frustration. Now, what I'm trying to say is the Nigerian masses are strongly behind Dangote. But the fact is that I have to call to his attention that look, Dangote, try to tell Nigerians, go over the media and tell the members, I mean, those people who are supporting you, how do you intend to sell your oil? What is your price? So are you going to sell lower than the government, I mean, lower than the government as well as the private, those importers? If it is so, if he is able to tell people, please, if I am into production, I'm going to sell at so price so that Nigerians will no longer suffer. The cost of living will be low. Then also the issue of high price of foodstuffs and commodity as whatever will also go low as a result of my price is going to be lower than that of the government. Then I believe
Mr. Shoba, you know, because you wanted to talk about this earlier, so let's now put it into proper perspective. You know, earlier I wanted to know if you thought government is helpless in this situation, because, you know, this whole rift started with Dangote accusing IOCs of crude oil price manipulation and claiming the firms were sabotaging his refinery. And as we speak, part of the conversation out there is that this whole crisis may be happening because of Nigeria's commitment to IOCs. Do you think IOCs control the country, and how powerful do you think they are?
Of course, IOC are in full charge. They are in charge. They are in control. If you go back to his claim that when he started buying crude oil from Nigeria, it is being sold higher than the global price. He talked about it, that $6 above the global price, which is determined completely and absolutely by international oil companies. Those international oil companies, we have obligation, the country has obligation over them because you have collected their loans, their grants, their assistance, their aids, and in whatever form. So therefore, you have to, he who pay for the pipers, they pay the tune.
But I mean, I'm worried about why it appears like, and I do not think it appears like anymore, because you've said it tonight, that government lacks the political will to put things in right perspective. And I wonder how you react to this sentiment, indicating that we lack a clear sense of purpose and direction, which will continue to make us vulnerable to the influence and control of other nations with more defined objectives. Because for a fact, at the moment, Nigeria started buying bad petrol, which was imported into the country. I mean, heads should have rolled. Persons should have lost their jobs. How do you react to this?
It is obvious. It is obvious. I wouldn't like to say the government has no sense of responsibility. However, it all indicates to us that it is clear that the government had lost grips. Grips in the sense that you find out that there were a lot of displacement of priorities. Nigerians are ultimately in hunger. We all know this. It is true. It is clear. There is a high rate of inflation. And then for more than 1 year, every commodity one will buy is increasing about threefold or 300%. And then for more than 1 year, it was just yesterday that a minimum wage is being signed into law. You can't imagine this. So therefore, it means there are other issues that the government is more interested than the national interest itself. In other words, there are so many diversions that makes government not to have a sense of direction. Definitely, I will succumb and I will believe that the government had lost grip. And then this will make us so vulnerable, and then we will be exposed to being in total control by international oil companies and international financial organizations, World Banks, IMF loans, and whatever is their hard conditions. Definitely, we must be ready for them. In fact, this is just the beginning.
All right. I mean, now as we speak, the House of Reps has promised to intervene. So, what role do you think the government has in this?
The House of Reps. You see, we have seen over the media last week the Speaker of the House of Representatives, as well as the Deputy Speaker, visit the Refinery. They went on a site scene, as well as to conduct investigation based on the allegations of inferior quality of Dangote Refinery's product, which at the end of the day, like you have said, is still under investigation. However, I am not confident that the National Assembly could come up with something that is so meaningful that will be accepted by Nigerians. I doubt it very much.
Why do you doubt it, Mr. Bawa?
Because, you see, there was in fact, the National Assembly that are made to make laws that protect the interests and the privileges as well as the rights of Nigerian citizens. Dangote is a Nigerian. Dangote has invested his money. Dangote has done the largest investment in the history of this country. I think Dangote should have, in the first place, laws need to be made by these legislatures. They are all aware of this problem for a very long period of time. They should have come in, intervene, make laws that will protect the interests of indigenous entrepreneurs. Why? Because we are looking for foreign investors to come. So if we're able to do that, if the legislatures were able to do that and they are serious about doing that, you don't expect a legislature that is more concerned on signing new national anthem that you cannot sing, I cannot recite. You understand, to the detriment of people dying as a result of insecurity, people dying as a result of poverty, economic meltdown, economic downturn, you can hardship, people are suffering. So I believe they are scared about this. If not because they are scared that Nigerians will no longer believe in them, they wouldn't have even intervened. Because they are all part and parcel of this particular war that we are experiencing today. Most of them are oil importers. Most of them had shares in one or the other. You understand? Involving themselves in this. So the fact is that that sense of responsibility that is expected from leaders is what we are lacking completely.
All right. Now, let's expand this conversation beyond this ongoing rift. Let's talk about the liberalization of the petroleum industry, which was meant to be a blessing to the country. But at the moment, the reverse is the case. And this is not to talk of the PIB, which also talks about giving considerations to local refineries. But none of this is happening. So why do you think there is so much encumbrances in the oil and gas sector, apart from the issue of corruption? And also, can we ever stop importing fuel into the country? And do you agree with people who have said the leadership of the NNPC must answer to this and the president must do the needful?
Yes. Yes. We can stop importing if the country, if the government is ready for that. You see, you talk about liberalization of the oil and gas sector. We have existing refineries that so much money is being spent on them. Many people are making money out of it on turnover maintenance, on every millions of Nigerian commonwealth is being spent on that. And for more than 3 decades, no drop of oil is being refined from these 3 local refineries. We were celebrating when the Minister of State for Petroleum said production in Port Harcourt will start. He gave us an excuse of this month, next month, until almost a year today. Nothing is out of it. Now, if at all we're serious, when Buhari came, he was once a minister of petroleum. He was once the chairman of petroleum PTDF. So I believe he knew so many things about, for and has been a minister of petroleum for 8 years, and nothing has changed. This, like I've told you, they built a network which is very strong, stronger than the government itself. They determine what the government should do as far as this issue of. So the whole issue of liberalization is about the issue of theory on books. Practically, it is impossible. And then now it is being demonstrated by this kind of problem of being a cog in the wheel of progress of Dangote Refinery.
But because I keep wondering, Mr. Shoba, $1.5 billion for the revitalization of the PH refinery, $1.4 billion for the Warri refinery. But every other day, NNPC Group CEO keeps postponing production dates for the PH refinery. First week in August is the new date, and it's almost here. What do you think the president must do if this new date changes so Nigerians can take him seriously? Because the impression out there is that the regulators are out to sabotage the president.
Well, it's not about the regulators sabotaging the president. It is about a grand conspiracy. It's a grand conspiracy. Like I've told you, you don't expect where people are making so much money. They will not. It's just like the issue of when Olusegun Obasanjo was the president. He spent 20 billion naira to restructure the power supply. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that most of these contractors are those that are supplying generators, and it has been a source of their living. So they in fact, at the end of the day, they sabotage the whole effort. Now, it is the same thing. This Port Harcourt refinery, until when we see, it has been August. They agreed on August. They promised August. August is almost around the corner. Let us wait and see. But the fact is that the president, Nigerians don't hold him any longer with much esteem. The minister of
All right then.
Nigerian.
All right then. But quickly, in less than 1 minute, how do we ensure that at the end of the day, when this rift is over, Nigerians are not the biggest losers?
Well, I'm scared. Nigerians are going to be the biggest losers, honestly speaking, because when this very huge investment is not being protected, is not being protected by government, is not being controlled. I mean, those what do you call them? Those bloodsuckers who lived on importing refined oil into Nigeria are not being protected, are not being curtailed by government. Definitely, the whole issue of Dangote Refinery is going to be like a white elephant.
That's good to hear. But then, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've been speaking with Mohammed Bawa, Senior Lecturer and Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at all